go. What up, what up, what up, what up? What up, party people, man? It's your boy Wayne, aka Wayne Go Crazy. NBA season, regular season, let me confuse. Regular season has officially ended. And I got some major takeaways that I took away from this NBA season, essentially recapping everything. First of all, first things first, just to recap. Kyrie KD got traded, something that everybody believed the Brooklyn Nets should have done last year in the offseason. But I mean, the way they still were able to, you know, Jock Vaughn was able to still help this team out. They're the sixth seed currently in the Eastern Conference. They avoided the play-in game. Mikal Bridges looks like a bucket when he gets the opportunity to be the number one scoring option. Now, can he be a number one scoring option on a championship contender? Probably not. But just like a fun team, yes. These are one of the teams I like to watch when it's not a bunch of superstars, just a bunch of role players essentially working together as a collective. Um, so, Kings on the way. Kyrie went to Dallas. I think they were the sixth seed at the time, if I'm correct, before the trade, and now they're not in the playoffs. But they were able to keep their draft pick, and now there's going to be an investigation because more than likely they probably tanked that last game in order to keep their draft pick instead of giving it to the Brooklyn Nets. And then obviously Russ no longer on the Lakers. He's in one of my five takeaways for the NBA season. So let's start with right there. Five takeaways from the NBA season. So number 5, Sacramento Kings surprised us all. And that Sabonis trade worked out for everybody. Don't know why I couldn't talk, but it worked out. Pacers get a budding star with Tyrese Halliburton. When he was on the court, they look like a playoff team, but when he's not, they look absolutely terrible. But we're going to focus on the Kings. When the Kings traded for Sabonis, got rid of Tyrese Halliburton, the team, everyone in the world looked at them like fools. And we even further look at them as fools when they said, "Oh, we can make the playoffs with this new duo." And they looked very impressive last year in the little games that they played together. But no one suspected them becoming the third seed. Check me out. The third seed in the West this year. I had them being a ninth seed, fighting for a playing spot, and I thought that would have been a vast improvement. But what Mike Brown has been able to do with the Sacramento Kings team is absolutely amazing and tremendous. I was one of the people, and I'm going to, I could get shit on. I was one of the people that didn't think Mike Brown was that good of a head coach. There's a difference in between being a good assistant coach and being a good head coach. And I thought Mike Brown was probably one of those great assistant coaches that you would want on your staff. But as far as being a head coach, I did not think that was Mike Brown. But he proved me wrong. I think he proved a lot of other people wrong. The surprising thing with this, Mike Brown is known for his defense. But this Sacramento Kings team was an amazing offense. One of the best offenses we've ever seen in NBA history. De'Aaron Fox in clutch time, who's easily runaway unanimous clutch player of the year award, has to go to De'Aaron Fox. So this team, I would say, surprised the hell out of the NBA, shocked the NBA. We thought it was a fluke, like Utah Jazz when the season first started. They looked, wow, what is Utah going to do? I guess they're not tanking. But now they fell down to earth. I think we all were waiting for that Sacramento Kings fall down to earth moment, and it never happened. They continue to be gritty, young, feisty. They don't have no elite defenders on this team, hence why they don't have a top defense. But they got some nice length. They can get out of there, show different bodies. And De'Aaron Fox, when it comes to the fourth quarter, he is Mr. Fourth Quarter. Shout out to Kenny Beecher, man. But, yeah, man. The Kings really surprised me. Number 4, OKC completed their rebuild in 2 years. And somebody's like, oh, the rebuild is done until they win a championship, compete for championships. They're in the play-in 10th seed all may be. But when I do my play-in predictions, you'll see why I'm saying the rebuild is complete. But 10th seed all may it be, OKC, we thought they were not going to be good. Jalen Williams, a.k.a. J-Dub, probably the second best rookie this year. Not probably. He was the second best rookie this year. Shea is going to be all NBA. Which I don't think everybody knew how good Shea was, but I don't think everybody thought Shea would be all NBA this year. And just what they've been doing with that team in OKC, complimentary pieces, Isaiah Joe, it's a lot of things that these guys did. A lot of names I could throw that Josh Giddey took another leap. Now that's why this team is in where they're supposed to be. And they did all this without Chet Holmgren, their number one pick last year. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do moving forward. So rebuild done, and they were able to complete that within 2 years. Number 3, Dame needs to get out of Portland. Portland needs to blow it up. This team cannot be successful. I said this as well. As long as Nurkic is your center, you're not going to be that successful anyway. And I don't think this team is fit for Dame to do what he needs to do. I feel like it's something we've been saying for the last 2 to 3 years. But Dame needs to get out of there and get away, right? Number 3, I'm going to tie everything up. It's kind of 2-part. 4. 1, Russ isn't a horrible player, and Zion is hurting the Pelicans. So those are my 4. That's number 4. What I mean by Russ isn't a horrible player. Last year, the way people talked about Russell Westbrook was what he was a terrible player. Wasn't able. You couldn't do anything with him. He was holding every team back. But when we saw Russ accept the role of a 6-man, he was literally the runaway 6-man of the year. Then he gets to the Clippers, and he looks like, I wouldn't say old Russ. He looks like a slightly lesser version of the Wizards Russ, which is who they will need. He's been knocking down some shots later on in this year. I don't have my Russell Westbrook poster up right now, but I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan. And as a fan of Russell Westbrook, I'm excited to see him get back to this. I think he's going to take this personally. I desperately, as a Russell Westbrook fan, need to see a Russell Westbrook ring. It'll also be nice to see a Paul George ring. I think the Clippers can make a lot of noise in these playoffs. When I give my playoff predictions, we'll get that this weekend. But at the end of the day, I do think the way that Russell Westbrook was portrayed on the Lakers was a misevaluation. And since he's came to the Clippers, he has become a very impressive player and a key piece. So I'm happy to see Russell Westbrook back. Now next to my next part B of number 4. Zion Williamson is hurting the New Orleans Pelicans. The reason why he's hurting them is because he cannot stay healthy. And they have invested a lot in this young man. They have built their team around him. And when the piece that you cannot build your team around cannot stay healthy, it's hurting them. They are again in the play-in. If Zion was at least able to play 50 games this year, this team would be a top 4 seed in the West. They were the number 1 seed while he was able to play. Between him and Brandon Ingram, they can't get on the court together. They can't build any chemistry. And if they're lucky enough to get out of the play, and he might, and that's a strong might, be able to get into the playoffs. So Zion has to get better. He has to become better, and he has to do a lot of things better. So definitely need that to work out in the favor. And my number 1, I said that was my number 2. My number 1, my biggest takeaway from this entire year, my biggest takeaway was big men are still the most impactful players on teams in the league. And you may be saying this like, Wayne, why are you saying this? The best players in the league are typically the guards and the wings. And why do I say this? The MVP race currently right now is between 3 big men. People don't want to classify Giannis as a big man, but Giannis is a big man. I don't care what anybody says. He's part of the big men. I think natural 4s and 5s are big men. Let me tell you why I say this. Cat misses time for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their season does not go the way that many predicted, and Rudy Gobert doesn't play the way that many people predicted. But Anthony Edwards does take that leap, but that team is still in the same position that they were in last year. If Rudy plays like what people expect Rudy to play, and he didn't play as horrible as people are portraying, but at the end of the day, that's what happens. If Cat doesn't miss that much of the season, I think they're in a better position. The Lakers. What do we say about the Lakers? The Lakers will only go as far as Anthony Davis takes them. He is the most impactful player on that team. Braun may be the best, but AD is the most impactful. In the East, Giannis, Brook Lopez. We love Drew Holiday. I love him too. But to me, the most impactful people on that team, especially defensively, are Giannis and Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is in Defensive Player of the Year conversations. Now I'm going to go to the West. Memphis Grizzlies, top 2 seeds. And then Memphis Grizzlies and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are where they're at because of that guy, Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Might be the most impactful player in the league currently. But when we're really talking about true impact, we're talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. The Grizzlies defense was absolutely horrible the first 2 months, the first month and a half of the season when Jaren Jackson wasn't playing. He comes back, and that team is automatically the best defense in the league. The league. John Morant misses a lot of games. You know what Jaren Jackson does? He steps it up offensively and to provide to you what he can defensively. The New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson's having a great season, but quiet as kept. Unless you're a real ball knower, you also know that Julius Randle is having an all-NBA season. I could keep going. Joel Embiid, more than likely may win MVP. Look what the Sixers are doing because of Joel Embiid. The big man, as much as we try to change it, as much as they try to take it away, the big fella still holds a lot of weight in the league, and a lot of the best teams, he's their most impactful player. And that's they only can go as far as their big man will take them. Give you another example. As good as the Suns are with Devin Booker, CP3, and KD now, it doesn't matter if DeAndre Ayton goes out there and plays like shit. As much as they try to take the big man away, the big man is still, in my opinion, the most impactful player, most impactful position. Whether it's the 4 or the 5, those 2 positions are probably one of the most impactful. Not probably, they are the most impactful positions on the court. So, take it as you may. Those are my 5 takeaways. I did 10, but those are my 5 takeaways from this NBA season. You'll have another video tomorrow morning before the playing games, breaking down my play-in, breaking down who I'm picking for the play-in. But until next time, my name is Wayne, and I go crazy.